my name is Jaclyn. Welcome to episode 37 of the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram, Pinterest, basically everywhere as @Jaclyn Salem. Show notes for this podcast and all other episodes of this podcast can be found in the Brooklyn Knitfolk Ravelry group. And this is a podcast about knitting, sewing, whatever other crafts I find myself getting up to. And I'm so happy that you could join me today. There are lots of podcasts out there, and so I thank you as always for spending a little bit of your crafty time with me. So the past few weeks have been amazing. Brooklyn in the summer, you guys, there's just nothing like it. Like free concerts in the parks all the time, movies that are in the park, like big screen like movie screenings in the park, like all these other like really amazing great things you can only do in the summertime, and I have been taking full advantage. And the weather, it's been amazing, it's been hot, and yeah, just loving it. Last weekend was Julie of Sweet Sparrow Yarn's trunk show, and that was in Red Bank, New Jersey at Chelsea Yarns. I had the most amazing time. I did vlog the entire time I was there, but I have not had a chance to put together that vlog yet, so hopefully I'll be able to do that soon. But it was just a magical time. I had fully intended on recording a podcast episode last week, but just with the trunk show and all the other things going on that weekend, I also babysat Mina Phillips, the knitting expat's adorable baby Layla. So just everything that was jam-packed into that week, I couldn't fit in podcasting an episode. But here I am for you this week, and I guess let's go ahead and jump right into it. One announcement that I want to make: I did draw the prize winners for the Cocoa Craft project bags and have notified them on Ravelry. Thank you so much to everybody who entered. I love reading all the good things that are happening in your life. So I will definitely be putting up another giveaway. As always, the Ravelry group is the place to be to win amazing prizes. So the next one should be up and ready to go by the time you guys see this episode. The other thing too that I wanted to mention, thank you very much for those of you who indulged my, I guess, complaint, if you will, or my confession at the end of the last episode. At the end of the last episode, I did admit that I am just like so over the fade crap right now. I just like cannot deal with any more fades in my feed on Instagram. And so many of you commented, sent me private messages, it's like, yes, thank you, somebody who's vocalizing like the same thing that we're going through, so I'm glad to know I'm not the only one. Some of you even confessed that you were not fans of Stephen West, which, like, shocking. Like, I am definitely on that bandwagon, but I can see how you're not, because he's definitely super popular with everybody that's in, you know, knitting the Stephen West patterns. On that note, I have decided that I'm going to host a new CAL. So the new CAL is going to start on August 1st, so it gives you plenty of time to kind of figure out what you're going to knit. But in the vein of this whole, I guess, rebuttal against, and you know, against like all the super popular things happening, I have to come up with an idea called the Hipster CAL. So the Hipster CAL is this, basically from the beginning of August 1st to, let's give it, I can't decide if I want to make it 2 to 3 months. Let's just say, let's say 3 months. So August, September, October, at the end of October. So it gives a 3-month CAL. You can choose any pattern that has less than 30 projects logged on Ravelry. So that means that we're all going to be knitting patterns that are maybe a little underappreciated or by designers that are new to the scene, etc., etc. That's basically the idea behind it. I'm calling it the Hipster CAL. It'll be hashtag BKHipsterCal on Instagram if you want to start talking about your projects and the yarns that you want to use. And yeah, so I think that'll be fun to have a CAL where you pick a pattern that has less than 30 projects logged on Ravelry. And in the finished objects thread, I'm also going to be giving a bonus entry if you use a yarn that you've never used before. So, I mean, I'm not going to check in your projects to see like, oh, has this person used X yarn? Like, it's on the honor system for the yarn, but you can get an extra entry if you knit your project in a yarn that you have not used before. Whips will not be allowed with this project. It's a 3-month cal, so I feel like it's kind of pointless to let you pick up whips unless they're like just started and you would like put it away or something like that. Like if you have less than a couple rows, if you have a few rows on it and you just like put it away for whatever reason, by all means join in on the cal. But I just don't want, I mean, it's a 3-month cal, so it seems kind of silly to allow whips for that. So that's the idea behind it. There will also be a post on Ravelry or a thread on Ravelry that will explain everything as well. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am to see things that are not fades in our feeds. All right, with that, we'll jump right into works in progress. And I have a hoe for you today. I did mention on my last episode that I was gonna finish this sock because it was so close to being done. This is the By the Seine River pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I used Sweet Sparrow yarns in the More colorway for the body of the sock, and then for the toe, I used Yarn Co. in Electric Meadow. I love these colors, and I love this pattern. It's so easy to knit. It's deceptively simple. It looks like it would be complicated. It's not. It's a 4-row repeat, and 3 of the 4 rows are just knit stitches. So it's very simple. And I love how it turned out. I'm very excited. I need to cast the other one on. I cast this on toward the beginning of the year because it felt like a very spring is almost here, but it's still wintry kind of color palette. And I just love these colors. I'll give you a shot of just the plain vanilla part so you can kind of see these like grays, slightly lavender, some brown. It's just very slush feeling, more feeling, if you will, as the name would suggest. And then Electric Meadow kind of gives it that pop. I love Electric Meadow by Yarn Co. I think I'll buy a skein. I have a mini of it, but I think I'll buy a full skein just because it goes so well for cuffs and toes and so many colorways that I pick out. I feel like it goes with a lot of things that I have in my stash. So yay, so that's the By the Seine River socks. My usual cast on is 56 stitches. This pattern does call for 72 stitches cast on. So I modified the pattern to be 56 stitches, but that is a little bit too tight. So I think with the second sock, I'm going to knit it with 60 stitches instead. And hopefully that will fit better. I mean, I can get this on, but it is just like quite tight, especially over, I guess, I don't really know what the bridge of my foot, instep. I don't really know what the parts of my foot are, to be honest. But yeah. Sorry, you think the people upstairs are moving? I'm not really sure because there's just so much noise coming from there the past few days, but anyway, sorry if you can hear that. But yeah, By the Seine River socks. That's my first half object, and I'll cast on the other ones. That's living in this project bag made for me by Amber of Maker's Haven. It's so cute, mostly Rifle Paper Company fabrics, and this cute little kitty window right there. I love it. It's so adorable. All right, next work in progress. Let's just keep in line with the sock theme. So I had some amazing acquisitions in my last episode, super special. One of the ones that I bought was another Sweet Sparrow Yarns colorway, and it's a self-striping yarn called There's Coffee in That Nebula. It's a Star Trek reference. I've never seen Star Trek before, but I love the colorway of this yarn. It's just so pretty, like a coffee brown stripe and then this like nebula stripe. I posted a picture on Instagram right when I started it, and I'm almost finished with the first sock. Look at these colors and the sparkle, the gold stellina. It's just perfection. 56 stitch cast on as per usual, 2x2 rib, and then just a vanilla sock with a fish lips kiss heel. I love how the stripes worked perfectly with my gauge to have one stripe for each half of the fish lips kiss heel. How perfect is that? I just love when little things like that work out. But yeah, take a look at this amazing colorway. I am obsessed with it. It's so cool, especially the nebula. Oh, sorry, my nail looking gross. Don't look at that. Especially the nebula. Amazing. Just amazing. I love it. So yeah, I'm almost done with this first one, and then I'll cast on the second one. I don't think I'm going to do a contrasting toe on this. I might change my mind on that, but for right now I think I'll just be knitting it completely out of the Sweet Sparrow yarns. There's coffee in that Nebula. Amazing colorway. Could not recommend her yarns more highly enough. And that is living in my project bag made for me by Hannalisa Haferkamp. She has the Hannah on the Road podcast and the Hannah on the Road Instagram. She has an Etsy shop, and these are her amazing bags. She sent me one, and I have one in my giveaway stash right now to use for an upcoming giveaway. So, love that. Okay. It's flying through the whips. Okay, the next one I want to show you. It's too hot. It's too hot. Okay, too hot in here. Her hair down. Alright, so I just cast this on in my last episode. I've made lots of progress on it. It's such a fun project to work on. It's growing so fast, and that is my Sprite Fanshawe, a design by Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade. It's kind of hard. Let me see if I can spread it out as much as possible on the needles. I'm about 40%, 35, 40% finished with it. Helen Stewart's patterns are so cool, you guys. I've shown them to a few people since casting on this project, so they're curious about it. It has row by row written out, so the number of the row, the right side, the wrong side, the instructions for that row, and then she also gives you percentages as you finish the shawl or the pattern in question. So you can kind of, it just really like nudges you ahead to kind of get to that next percentage of completion. It's sort of difficult to see it here because, I mean, I've got it spread out as much as I can, but it is a lovely, lovely pattern. The yarn I'm using is Fiber Story 1, which is a singles fingering weight yarn, and it's in the Dusty Plum colorway. This colorway is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's like a combination, it depends on what light you see it in. It's got a blend of 70% merino, 30% silk, and it either looks like purple, brown, or gray depending on what light it's in. And I just love it. So this shawl is part of Helen's Shawl Society 2 collection, where you get a different shawl pattern. I think it's for 6 months. I'm not for sure how many there are in total, but this is either the second or the third one. I should have looked this up before, but it will all be on Ravelry in the show notes for you to look at. But this is one of the patterns in the Shawl Society 2 collection, and it kind of has like this lacy sections followed by sections of garter, another lacy wavy section, sections of garter, and then the next section is garter that has eyelets in it. It's beautiful, and the edging on this shawl is just beautiful as well. So I cannot wait. I've just been trucking along. I kind of love the amount of projects I have right now. I have 3 that I'm kind of alternating between. I'm not really counting these right now because I'll get to these eventually, but I'm kind of not actively working on that right now. But I have my socks that I just showed you, this shawl, and then a sweater pattern that I'm working on right now, and it's just perfect kind of combination of projects and variety of projects. So there really is a mood for everything. So again, this is the Sprite Fanshawe, a pattern by Helen Stewart, part of Shawl Society 2, and I'm just loving this yarn. The combination of yarn and pattern, absolutely glorious. So fun to work on. And that is living in a project bag made by Julie of Sweet Sparrow Yarns. This was a Christmas edition bag. So cute, these little woodland creatures. I love this bag, I use it all the time. All right, and then the next work in progress I will show you is my sweater. The sweater I'm working on is the Laurel Cardigan. Here, I don't know what to show you first. Here, I'll show you it's a free pattern on Ravelry, the Laurel Cardigan by Amy Christoffers, and that's what the final sweater looks like. I have substituted this kind of horseshoe cable that's in here with a different cable because I don't really like the horseshoe cable. So basically what I did was I looked at the stitch count of the cable and then got on knittingfool.com, which has tons of free stitch patterns, and then found a cable with a similar stitch count or something close enough where I could just kind of increase a stitch or two to pick out a new cable that I liked better. And I settled on the Ensign braid cable, which looks like this. Love how it turned out. I have one half of it finished. Let's see if I can kind of model how this is constructed. So you kind of knit in two pieces. So I'll knit the right side and then the left side, which I'm currently working on. I'll show you in a second. And then you pick up all around the bottom of the cable and then knit it down from there for the length. Last time I showed this to you, I was already on the second half of the sweater. This progress keeper right here, this croissant sucra miniature, that's where I was last time, and I've knit all of this and I've started on the cabling portion. So it's in the loincloth stage, as I refer to it, which kind of gets into a tunnel of knitting where I feel like I'm not making any progress because the rows are long and it's a seed stitch cardigan. I'm actually really enjoying the seed stitch. Lots of people told me like, oh, I don't know how you could do that, but it's really been quite enjoyable. I actually find the process of seed stitch faster than stockinette straight purl rows, at least. Like, not faster than the knitting rows, of course, but seed stitch, like the ribbing alternating between knitting and purling, to me is way faster than straight purling. So I went ahead and popped on another progress keeper right there because last time I felt the same. Once I kind of got to this stage where I was knitting back and forth and incorporating the cable into the pattern, I just felt like I wasn't making any progress at all. So it's nice to kind of add that little progress keeper so I can see that I am actually making a dent in this. So I anticipate getting this done hopefully pretty soon. I'm going out of town on the 4th of July, which is in a few days from now, to visit my sister and my nephew and my family. Maverick, my nephew's first birthday, is coming up on July 8th, so I'm going home for his birthday. And I think what I plan on doing is only taking this sweater project with me. Maybe one other project, maybe the shawl. I'm tempted to leave the socks at home, even though it's the most portable of the projects, because socks I'm gonna get done no matter what. Like, it's my subway knitting because I just don't have a lot of room to bring all of this in a pattern and such with me. Socks are always gonna get done, so it's harder to make time for the sweaters and the shawls because I only can work on them in the evenings for, you know, an hour or so before I go to bed. So I just feel like it would be best if I bring one of these patterns so I can really power through one of these projects and get it off the needles. I'm really, really excited. I love working on this sweater project, but the finished object I'm very excited to have because I think it's going to be a really perfect addition to my wardrobe. So I'm excited to be able to wear this at Rhinebeck. I'm excited to wear my other sweater I knit earlier this year at Rhinebeck, and I have other sweaters I want to get on the needles too. For some reason, it's like the middle of summer right now, and all I want to knit are like these heavy projects that are just like making me sweat, but whatever. So yeah, Laurel Cardigan. Loving this project. The yarn is super, super special, as you may know if you've watched this podcast before. It came from the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour, and it is a nun spun, as I lovingly refer to it. It's hand spun by the nuns at the St. Mary's on the Hill farm, and it is a 2-ply BFL. I am definitely alternating skeins because, as I learned from the first time with this project, even if it's undyed yarn, the fleece can be different colors depending on exposure to the elements, exposure to dirt, how it was plied. So it definitely does vary. I'll even show you on here, it's easy to see. I alternate every other row, so every 2 rows I alternate. You can see that this is much lighter right there and darker right there. So even with hand spun undyed yarn, you still have to alternate skeins, or at least that's what I'm finding with these yarns. So Laurel Cardigan by Amy Christoffers. Very much enjoying that project and cannot wait to take that with me to Tennessee to get it done. Okay, the last yarn work-in project that I'm going to show you, because it's not knitting, is my granny stripe blanket. I have gotten so much done on this. You guys, Julie of Sweet Sparrow Yarns and I, we are always discussing about the granny stripe project. It's such a self-care project is the way that she described it to me the other day, and I could not identify more strongly with that. That really resonated with me. It's just like a way to take care of yourself. You get to play with all of these really cool yarns. It's color. It's just so fun. I cannot express to you how much fun these blankets are, and that if you're still on the fence about casting one on, I really could not recommend it more. I'm loving this project. So the last time I showed it to you, I try to only show it on the podcast once I've made like some considerable progress on it, and I guess the last time I showed it to you, I believe I was on kind of where this brown stripe is right here. So I've made quite a bit of progress on it. I don't know the exact amount of stitches that I chained on in the beginning. I'm not really sure. I just kind of held it up against my queen size bed and then chained it the width of my queen size bed. So there's somewhere in the realm of like 340 to 360 stitches, but I just don't really know for sure. I use a 3.75 millimeter hook, which I think is an F hook. Could confirm that for you real quick. Yep, F hook. And I sort of alternate between using this Clover Amour hook. It's a really squishy handle. I love this. And then this gift from Julie. It's a hand-turned crochet hook from Unraveled You, made out of quilted maple wood. I use both of them because the wooden crochet hook can kind of like drag on especially some of the more rustic-y yarns and stuff that I put in here. So this one's much easier for smoothness. So I just kind of alternate between using them. I have my bag of minis here. This is a project bag that I got at the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour. Fernanda, who is Fee Creations or Made by Fee, she made everybody a kind of quilted project bag who attended the Farm and Fiber Tour, which was so nice. So I use it every day, have all my minis in it for the blanket. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying this project. I think it's interesting too how my mood lately has not been, I incorporate neons because I want the blanket to be even throughout in the distribution. It's a mostly neutrals and pastels blanket with pops of dark colors and pops of neons. But lately I just really have not been gravitating towards neon colors at all, as you can see there. But I add it because I want to keep it consistent. I do not do magic yarn cakes with this. To me, part of the fun is in the color management and picking out different yarns in different places. So I really have no interest in doing a magic yarn cake at all. So, yep, that's my crochet blanket. I love it so much. And on that note, I just want to do a quick interjection of an acquisition. This is not an acquisition segment, that will be at the end of the podcast, but as it's sort of relevant to the blanket, I ordered a set of minis from Noxee Yarn Co. Danielle is an absolutely genius dyer. I hesitate to even bring her up on this podcast because she sells out so fast now that I can't even get a hold of some of the things I want from her sometimes. So I'm gonna be a good podcaster and share with you, but her yarns are just incredible. And I bought this mini set from her with the intention of making scrappy socks, a la Little Bobbin's Knit. She's really good at making these scrappy socks from like one particular yarn dyer. But as soon as I got them, I just wanted to put them into my blanket straight away. I just love these colors. It's a Penny Dreadful inspired set. Here, see, I'll show a few of them at a time. Look at those colors. They're incredible. I love them so much. And I wanted to make the scrappy socks, but I just couldn't help myself. I had to put them in my blanket. So that's what you kind of see right there. In love with them. I did save a lot of it in hopes that maybe I'll still have enough to make some socks, especially if I combine it with a different, like a neutral, like a white or something for heels, cuffs, and toes. We'll see. But I may just end up putting all of this into my blanket because I love them so much. So thank you, Danielle, for being such a boss when it comes to dyeing yarn, because these are amazing. Amazing. Okay, so that's it for yarn related works in progress. I have one work in progress to show you, or not work in progress, a finished object. Yay, finished object for Spoolish Games, the sewing segment of the podcast. And that is the quilt. So the quilt along series is done. I'm so excited. Every single episode of the quilt along tutorial series is up and ready for your viewing and sewing pleasure. It is a neat 10-part series that goes over how to make your first quilt. It's a very, very beginner-friendly project. Like, if you've never turned on a sewing machine before, this project will be great for you. Trust me on this. I started learning how to sew by making quilts myself as like a 7-year-old. So if I could do it as a 7-year-old, trust me, you've got this. But the quilt is finished, finally. I just have the binding left to do, but because I hand sew the binding on the back, it meant sitting with this in my lap in like 90-degree weather with no air conditioning, because I haven't installed my air conditioning yet. So it was not something I was super keen on doing, but I figured like I really just need to get this done and out, so I did it. But yay, I'm so excited with how it turned out. I used this kind of floral fabric from my grandmother's fabric stash. I kind of went through her fabric stash before she moved to assisted living with my grandfather, and so I have a bunch of her fabrics in my stash. Oh my god, what are they doing up there? Like, seriously, what are they doing up there? Sorry if you can hear that. Anyway, this is the quilt. I love it. I use it all the time, snuggle up with it on my couch when it's cool in the evenings, at least. Like, I am not cuddling up with this right now. I'm kind of too hot sitting with it in my lap. But once it's cooler in the evenings, it's actually really nice to have this, and I've used it a few times. So I cannot wait for it to get cooler. Actually, I don't want to say that because I'm really enjoying the summer right now, but I'm excited to use this when fall rolls around. So all of the fabrics were from Joann's, with the exception of this binding fabric that I used. And then the back, I just used a sheet for the back of it. Very cost-effective way to make quilts, because I live in New York City, and if you didn't know, it's hella expensive to live here. Okay. That's my only sewing work in progress, or finished object, sewing project in general. I haven't really been sewing a whole lot lately. So with that, the last thing I want to talk to you guys about are a few acquisitions that I have. Okay, acquisitions. So the first acquisition I want to show you was actually something, a pattern that was donated to the podcast by Paula, who is Polka Knits on Ravelry. Paula designed an amazing shawl pattern called the Ghost Shawl. I think it's called Ghost Shawl. You just ghost? Let's see. Ghost. It's called Ghost by Paula, and I'm sorry, there's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce that last name because she's Polish, but the pattern is amazing. I'll definitely put a picture on here so you can see. If you are into the whole brioche world right now, because it is definitely a trend, it's fun, it's so squishy. I've knit some brioche for my exploration station pattern. This is definitely the pattern for you. Ghost is a 2-color brioche triangular shawl that is an asymmetrical shawl, and it is perfect for stash busting, especially if a lot of you have been knitting some of those fades and you have lots of yarn left over, or a gradient set. It's perfect to use up those scraps of yarn or minis or whatever, even if you don't want to do a faded version of it. It's so on trend right now, so I have to mention it. And I just liked the pattern concept in general. I feel like even if you just picked 2 colors and just knit it all the way through and alternated between what's the front and the back for the 2 different colors that you purchased, it would still be really beautiful. So I think it would be a great use of all those extra fade colors that we have, a gradient set, or even just a 2-color pattern. So it's looks super, super squishy and comfortable. And she has donated a copy to me. Thank you so much, Paula. And a copy to the podcast. So that is up on Ravelry right now as a giveaway. Definitely, definitely enter. I know that this will be one that is so comfortable to wear come fall time, because they're just, again, brioche stitch. It is everything that people say it is and more. It's very, very squishy and soft. So highly recommend that. Thank you so much for donating that to the podcast, Paula. And then the next acquisition I wanted to show you, I've already shown you the minis that I got from Noxee Yarn Co. Amazing. But she also sent me, sorry, my acquisitions are kind of on the floor in front of me. She also sent me this skein of merino cashmere, yeah, MCN. And the colorway is called Bifrost. Isn't this so pretty? So pretty. What I may end up using this for is, because I have these minis and I'm concerned about having a full amount left to do a full pair of socks, I may stripe the minis and then use this for whatever is left on the foot of the sock. That might be weird, maybe not, I don't know. But I mean, it's her yarn, so ideally I would really like to use all her yarn in the socks and not mix them with a contrasting like white color, you know, just for the sake of having enough yarn. So what I think I will do is use these minis to stripe as far as I can as possible. I'll knit the socks concurrently and then use this for the rest of the sock, whatever it takes to use it. So again, that's Bifrost by Noxee Yarn Co. Look at all these amazing speckles. MCN. It's just gorgeous. Thank you so much, Danielle, for sending this to me. I cannot wait to use this. The next one was a prize that I won. I never win prizes on giveaways on Instagram, ever. And if there was one that I was like dying to win, it would be this one. Anna of Gregoria Fibers. Have you guys heard of her? Because she gets incredible colors using only natural dyes. I have no clue how she does it, but look at this. It's like blush pink, hints of brown, some hints of blue. It's incredible. A single ply yarn. I think it's 100% merino, pretty sure. Yes, 100% superwash merino. It's beautiful. I have no clue what it wants to be, but I cannot tell you how excited I was when I saw that I won this on Instagram. So pretty. And again, that's Gregoria Fibers. So pretty. I love this so much. So yay! Let's see what to talk about next. How about Lillian of Hub City Fibers? This girl, when I opened this package, she sent me 2 skeins of yarn, one for me and one to give away, and immediately I was like, oh, obviously this one, because in case you didn't know, I love blush, I love peach, I love really anything pink as long as it's not like super hot pink, yeah, muted kinds of pinks, and I love neutral colors. So at first I was like, oh, obviously this is the one for me, which is Jersey Peach. It's a one-of-a-kind colorway, an 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. So gorgeous. But then the longer that these skeins kind of sat on my desk, the longer I was like, maybe I really want this one instead. For some reason, something about this calls out to me. Maybe it's the colorway name. It's called Cactus. And it really is quite cactus-like in color. It's very dimensional. It's got the cactusy greens, but then also like these grays and blues in it. It's like a gray blue, and it's on a gold stellina yarn, which I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see. But the longer that I looked at it, the more I'm like, maybe I want cactus. And this is a 70/25 superwash merino, nylon, and stellina. But I love chartreusey greens. That's another one of my favorite colors. And so they look really good together even. I don't know. So I'm having a hard time deciding which one I'm going to keep and which one I'm going to give away. Maybe I'll make this the giveaway that I post on the next thread on Ravelry to have up for you guys by the time you see the episode. I can't decide, but I'm just like in love with these colors. Hub City Fibers, there's her tag. Oh my God, sorry. I'm just getting so distracted by whatever it is they're doing up there. Hub City Fibers. And I love these colorways. I just love too how I was so sure that I wanted this one, but then the longer that I looked at this one and really considered it, the more I just really liked it. Even with my nail colors, you know, it's like, it's not a neutral color by any means because it's, you know, green, but with a pop of a different kind of color like that, it just really sings. And now we've got the sirens outside. I just can't win with noise on this podcast today. Okay, and then my last two acquisitions, of course, Sweet Sparrow Yarns. She had the trunk show last weekend, and she was so kind to gift me whatever skein I wanted from what she brought to the trunk show. And she dyed up a few colorways that were exclusive to the Chelsea yarn shop. And because of the trunk show and stuff, she'll still dye other ones of this. I think it's not only for the yarn shop, as far as I know. But this is one of the exclusive colorways she dyed, and it's called Chelsea Morning. Look at this bit right here. I just can't get over it. It's so pretty. The speckling in it, it's on a gold stellina. I just cannot wait to knit this yarn. I can't wait. It's gonna be, I feel like it's gonna be socks. It's gold stellina yarn. I'm not exactly sure what I would knit garment wise out of this, but I love the idea of making this into socks, and I can't decide what pattern to use. So if you have suggestions for a really amazing pattern for this, let me know. I've never knit Hermione's Everyday Socks, so I'm sort of considering knitting Hermione's Everyday Socks on the front, but then doing just straight stockinette on the back of the sock, because I really like having both where you can see how the yarn knits up without a pattern. It gives you like the full experience of the yarn. But just that, oh, that part right there, I can't. It looks so amazing. It's so pretty. So yes, this is Sweet Sparrow Yarns in the Chelsea Morning colorway. And then, while I was at the yarn shop, because as you do, you must buy yarn, I also bought this. This isn't going to be for me, but I'm still going to show it on the podcast, so, you know, just in case people who like to be enabled or check out new dyers. This is the Chelsea Yarns yarn. So Christina dyes yarn herself for her shop, Chelsea Yarns. Christina is the proprietor of Chelsea Yarns. And this colorway is called Minty Unicorn, and I got this as a gift. There's her tag, Chelsea Yarns Luxe, hand dyed. And yes, Minty Unicorn. It's so colorful, so fun. Definitely not something that I normally knit with, but I just thought it was really pretty, and I think the recipient is really gonna like it. So pretty. So that's all of my acquisitions, you guys. We're at the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Please go make sure to check out the giveaways that are going on in the Ravelry group. I'm going to commit to doing one of Lillian Hub City Fibers yarn, and then also the pattern that Paula designed by, I already said her name, Paula, the Ghost Shawl, the Brio Shawl. So if you're interested in winning either of those, head on over to the Ravelry group and enter. As always, the prompt is 3 good things that have happened to you in the past 24 hours. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Join in on the Cal, or get excited about the Cal. It's not happening for a month, but I just wanted to go ahead and get it out there to get people time to like plan for what project they wanted to do, buy yarn for it if you so wish to buy new yarn, because again, you get an extra entry if you use a yarn that you've never used before. So by all means, pick out projects, enter to win prizes, let's have fun. Happy making, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye! Mwah. See ya!